Hey, it's Chris from Stamp Blessings, and I'm here with a little impromptu live video. All week I've been on spring break and I kept meaning to come on live, but taxes got the better of me, and I did have time to squeeze in a little bit of a card workshop on Monday, and we made some fun cards that I want to share with you today. So I'm so glad you can join me, and if you're watching live, go ahead and leave me an emoji. Or if you're watching on the replay, still feel free to comment because I'll come back and I'll answer your comments. So these are the two cards that we're going to look at making today. Not the whole card in full, but I want to talk to you about how to achieve these stenciled backgrounds. And if we have time, but I think we might run out, I want to talk to you about Close to My Heart's new National Scrapbooking Day promotion. They have 5 bundles right now that are available online, and this is one of them. It's the stencil. It's a 2-step stencil, and I am having so much fun with it. I keep playing with different color variations, so this was the original one, and then I reached in and got some of my purples and my darker pinks, so you can see that they're lovely no matter what. And then I tried a whole different layout where I added a little bit of my own stenciling that I created with my Cricut. So I'll be showing you how I do that too. So I have a lot planned for today. This might be part 2, so stay tuned tomorrow. I think I'll be back for stenciling fun part 2. So I'll put this one aside, and I just want to show you really quick. This is my favorite stamp set in the current catalog, and it will be retiring at the end of this month. So if you love this one, oh, it is just gorgeous. And I've been working on a birthday card for my mom that I've been watercoloring, and I can't wait to show that to you. This one is a lot of fun too, and we did both of these, so stay tuned on my blog and you'll see some pretty cards popping up. But again, that's from the current March-April catalog. We'll have one more 2-month catalog, and then we're going to a 3-month cycle. So some of you will be excited about that. If you don't have stenciling products at home and you don't want to go into Michael's and get, tempted by all the other things, I did want to let you know that in the base catalog, Close to My Heart does carry stencil products. So we have Stencil Paste, stencil palette knives, and we already have pre-cut stencils. So that's pretty cool. If you've never used a Stamp Shammy before, that's on the very next page. I use it, and it's great for cleaning up my work surface, my stamps, and my stencils. So I'll show you a little bit more about that. But let's go ahead and put those away, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as I looked at those palette knives, I realized I don't have any, but I've had an impromptu using a bone folder, so let me grab that really quick. Well, you leave me a comment or an emoji and let me know where you're watching from. All right, and that was quick. Luckily, it was still drying in the kitchen. So I'm just starting with a 3 by 5.5 inch piece of paper. And I went ahead and I did cut my own stencils. Now, if you are a Cricut Access member, you have access to the Close to My Heart Cricut bundles. These are online, and you can just do a search for them and you'll find them. I happen to have the bundles that I purchased, and so they're loaded on my Cricut. But I find that I'm using the art booking one. It's got this fun stencil, and you can see a couple more possibilities on the back. And Artfully Sent also has some stencils. When you look on the back, they've got some really cool ones. There's a honeycomb one, which I think would go great with our bees. So I really have some more playing around to do. But I use transparency overheads to cut my stencils, and just tape it down well and send it through your Cricut machine. I use the transparency setting and it cuts beautifully. So that's my little tip for you. I'm going to go ahead, and I don't mind holding it down, but I found that it does take kind of, you know, you just have to be a little bit more careful. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this down. We did end up taping them down at my card workshop, and that was a good tip. The first card I'm going to use is, or make for you, is this pretty embossed background. And so what I'm going to do is first run a layer of Distress Oxide over my stencil, and then before I remove it, I'm going to touch down with my Versamark ink pad, and then I'll go ahead and emboss it. So let's see what happens. I've got my little doodad, my blender. I know a lot of people are buying brushes online, but because I have these and close to my heart sells them, I'm going to go ahead and just stick with that. So I'm getting some ink. This is a fresh sponge, and I'm going to just start off a little bit and then just come in and swirl. I did notice that some people at my class were just stomping down, but then you do get those little strokes. So I like to come in off of the stencil and then come into the paper, and you're going to get a little variety. And there my thing is trying to move a little bit, so I'm going to just hold it and apply a little pressure as I still stencil it away. And I'm going to have a little bit of variation in color, but that's okay. That makes it more natural. I do find you can blend ink with your regular ink pads, but you're going to have more movement, or an easier bit of movement with this here. And I think that I'm having troubles because I didn't tape it down as well as I should have. And also I have a little bit of a bump underneath here from my tripod holding my camera in place. So let's go ahead and it could be this tape is not really that sticky as washi tape. I bought this from a stamp store online, but I'm not really that happy with the purple tape. So if you're debating on purple tape, I'm not that happy with it. It doesn't hold for my Cricut. It holds a little bit for my dies going through my die cutting machine, and you can see now that it didn't really want to hold that well. So I'm still using my hands just like before. So I'm just kind of twisting a little bit where I see that I want it a little bit darker. I think I'm going to turn this into a background for a coffee stamp because we have a coffee lover blog hop coming up. All right, but let's go ahead and take a peek. So that's what it looks like right now, and I like the variation of color. I will use my my chamois just to clean up the ink so that I don't get it on my fingers and ruin anything, because that's how I do things. I tend to do that. And now I can just wipe this off so I don't ruin my Versamark ink pad as well. So that's good. And I just keep my Stamp Shammy in a plastic bag. So I just wanted to say thanks for coming in to watching my impromptu stenciling fun video. Today I'm going to make 2 cards. And I had planned all week to do it, but just life got the better of me. So I thought today, hey, I got time. Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to just lay this back on because this, while it's fine the way it is right now, I wanted to show you what happens when you put a Versamark ink pad over it and emboss it. It just kind of makes it even cooler, the effect. So you could, again, stop now, or this is what I did. I take my Versamark ink pad. I can see that I'm just off a little bit right there. Next time I wouldn't lift it up to show you. I think I might just leave it there. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and press down. And I don't know about you, but Versamark ink pads can get pretty disgusting looking fast. So I have one that I use just for oddball projects, just like this. And I'm pressing down to get the ink through there so that I'm going back over the brown, my Distress Oxide. And you know, honestly, the Distress Oxide might have enough wetness to it that I could have just even put embossing stuff on it. Yeah, so when I cleaned my pad, it wasn't 100% clean, so now I have that. But that's what's good about watching me live. You get to see me make mistakes and then just kind of go with it. The good thing is that that part's going to be probably covered up by my main image. And I'm just putting on some clear embossing powder. I'll set that aside and hopefully don't spill. Well, I'll just take a minute and put it back in. Otherwise, we'll have a huge mess. Have you ever dumped embossing powder over or like glitter? Ugh, what a mess, right? All right, so there we go. And then I have, for projects like this little heated craft tool. So I'm gonna just heat that up really quick. And it looks like it'll actually reach over here, so that's great. And this craft mat will take the heat, which is nice. So I'm just gonna come now and just do a little bit of a clear embossing over my distress ink. And again, you could just use any regular ink. Next time I won't lift my stencil off, or I'll make sure that I dry it so that any ink that's smudged doesn't get smeared back on this white cardstock. But sometimes we just have to learn to embrace our mistakes. And I guess if I hadn't made this mistake, you might have made it, so I'm saving you that pain and agony. But look at how it's starting to get really glossy. I love it. I don't know if you can see that as it turns from cloudy to shiny. Luckily, this heat gun isn't as hot as some others, so I could hold it. And there we go. So again, I'm going to just try, and I think you can see a little bit of the shine. So that'll be really fun to have like a coffee stamp or something. And this is what I did the first time with blue. And then I used the Isabella scrapbooking stamp set, which is still available online. That was a stamp set from last year. So I'll put that aside, and my mat is clean because now we're going to bring out the stencil paste. Now we're going to get messy. And I have a second stencil that I know does not have that brown ink, so we'll save ourselves a little bit there. And to make my colored stencil paste, this is just a little container from the dollar store. I took a glop of texture paste, and then I put in some drops of re-inker until it got to the color that I liked. So that's how easy it is to make your own colored stencil paste. And I would tell you that you don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. So I would just start off small and then, use this container. So it's still a little bit, it's wet enough to use. This is still left over from Monday. So this here is an embossing bone folder. It's a wooden one, but I will tell you that our palette knives that we have are a lot better. All right, so since my tape didn't really do a great job holding it down, I'm going to make myself hold this one down. So again, I'm laying my stencil over it, and this time it's almost, I told the ladies, like frosting a cupcake or a cookie, right? I put down a glop, I hold it, and then I just kind of smear it out. It has still a little bit on my blade, and then I just keep pulling it. What I like about texture paste, some of the ladies really didn't like it. They would have rather done the embossing technique that I just showed you. But what I like is that it leaves some variation. Like right here, there's going to be a little bit of a gap, and that's okay because I want it. You can keep spreading and spreading till everything was full, but I like the, the kind of modeled look or not perfect look. All right, so I'm almost done. You can see it didn't take that much stencil paste at all. I think I'll go up this way. And there we go. So here I had a much better luck just holding this in place. And it looks like I'm missing this bottom corner, so I'm just gonna bring my blade across. I have extra up here. Look how quick this is, and just come around here. And we're done. All right, so I can lift this off, and there are my results. Again, I can use my Stamp Shammy just to clean it off. And this is messy enough where I could either make multiples right now or set it aside and put it under the washing, under a sink to clean. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with that same heat gun that I used before. Just clean this up real quick. And that way it just dries it quicker and I could get creating. So again, I'm just going to quick give it a heat gun. And then now I'm ready to just color my stamped image and go ahead and mat this and layer it, and that's how quick that you get this really fun and unique background with a little bit of dimension. So there you go. And can you see, I'm going to kind of turn it a little bit. I don't know if you can kind of see the little glops and stuff, but it does look really nice. So there you have it. I just showed you how to stencil with Stencil Paste, and also then the old-fashioned way or the regular way with Distress Oxide, but adding a little bit of a little extra glossy touch with some clear embossing powder and Versamark. And you can see I use products from all over. This is my Old Amuse Studio clear embossing powder, but I like to just use what I have until I'm all done. If you're looking for cutting your own stencils, be sure to check out the Cricut. If you are an Access member, you have access to all old Close to My Heart Cricut creations, unless they're being sold now online. So those are a little bit different. And if you stay tuned tomorrow, I think I'm going to come back tomorrow and we'll go ahead and explore a little bit more about using these two-step flower stencils. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you need anything, you can find it at chrisfranco.closetomyheart.com. Check out my blog at www.stampblessings.com, and be sure to email me if you have any questions or Facebook message me. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later. Bye.